Guess what, guys? I just came home with a brand new project for Nate. He's gonna love this one. On this episode of Coastal by Design, watch us transform this vintage table from this to this.
Got here today is this side table that my wife got a really good deal on, and we're going to go ahead and do a restoration on this. This is a genuine mahogany product. It measures 29 inches across, and what struck us, and it has some really wonderful detail. If you can come in, it has this rope like feature that runs around the side that is really nice, and we think it's going to look really good painted. One little problem that this table had was a really badly peeling veneer on the bottom. But what I did was I went ahead and just peeled off that bottom one. It was so water damaged and rippled, and it would have been way too difficult to try to re-glue it. So I just went ahead and pulled that off. So what I will end up doing at this point is giving this a really good wash with a degreaser, and then we'll get to sanding. And I'm gonna do that wash because I wanna make sure I get all grease, oils, anything like that off before I start sanding. The last thing you ever wanna do is start sanding when you've got grease, oil, wax, especially pledge or anything like that, because you're basically just grinding it into the wood. And then when you go to paint, it's not gonna stick as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get started on that. Next thing, I'll be doing the washing. Real quick before we get into the washing, I wanted to give you an idea of what this veneer that I peeled off looked like. All along the edge, I don't know if you can see that rippling right there. There obviously was some water damage at some point. So when I went to pull on this, it just peeled completely right off. And then also while I'm at it, I wanted to show you the sticker. This is a genuine mahogany association sticker. We're going to insert a photo of what this looks like next to this. All right, guys. So we're going to get started on the cleaning. I don't want to make too much of a mess, and I really don't want to get this furniture that wet. I don't want to cause any additional problems with moisture or anything else like that. So what I'm going to be doing is spraying a solution, 75% water, 25% cleaner degreaser, using this Zep product. Anything that's a cleaner degreaser that you 100% know is actually going to cut oils and greases and wax. That's the main thing. I'm going to lightly spray this and give it a good scrub with this brush right here, and then I'm going to rinse it real lightly and then make sure it dries. All right, so this top has been thoroughly cleaned. At least I thought it was thoroughly cleaned. And then now that it's dried a little bit, I haven't had a chance to rinse it. I'm noticing some peeling of wax that's in multiple spots. So I'm gonna have to give this another go. Most of it over here though is clean. You can feel it. It's definitely good enough to start sanding. Had to change my shirt. Hot day in Florida. All right, obviously we're off to the sanding part now. And of course, one of the main reasons to make this video and what I wanted to show you guys is that anybody can do this stuff, even in a garage with limited tools. Right now I'm using this orbital sander just to make my life a little bit easier, but all of this can be done by hand. Right now I got 150 grit on this, and I'm just gonna run over this, just basically giving it a once over, just so that I get all of these areas right here smooth. If you see this right here, this is where the grain's a little bit raised, and also you see the stain has come up, and you can just basically feel it. I want to hit it just till everything's flat, and then we're going to move up and grit. Oh, and guys, always wear a mask and eye protection. Also, when I move up in grit, I'm going to be doing that by hand. This will be the only time I'll be using the orbitable. I forgot to sand all the rest of those. Sanding's finished. You're probably wondering why I took this all the way down to wood when I'm just going to paint it anyway. Well, there's been a little change of plan, a little shifting of gears. I was talking to Suzanne and she had this great idea. Instead of painting the whole thing, we're just going to paint the base. And then this we're going to end up staining with this product right here, this Minwax Color Series. This is a semi-transparent stain that you can tint with all kinds of different colors. And we're gonna cover that with this oil-based polyurethane from Minwax. We're getting ready to stain, and you might notice this little contraption right here that I fashioned up with just some junk I got laying around in the garage. What this is gonna do is allow me to flip this over, and then when I do the second side, I'll be able to reach underneath here and grab it and move it somewhere else. What this takes up right here is a smaller area than the top of the pedestal that will attach to this. So everywhere that this is touching, you're never going to see it. It's not going to be stained. No big deal. This stain has already been stirred. We're going to do it the old-fashioned way. I see a lot of people using brushes. There really is no point of using a brush that I can see. This is the way that I was shown how to stain way back in the, I guess it would have been the late 80s, way back in the last century. We're gonna follow the wood grain. And it looks pretty dark. I almost think I see blue. Guys, we are a brand new channel and we're on a race to 1,000 subscribers. If you're getting value out of this, please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and leave us a comment. While checking for damage, I noticed that this leg right here is loose right there. The glue has delaminated and it's causing this crack right here. It's not loose enough to try to remove it and re-glue. I suspect that it was doweled originally from here into this part of the spindle. What I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to run a screw through here because it's not particularly attractive and you're never going to see this spot. I'm going to run a screw through here into this leg, and I'm going to get it all drilled out, get it set up and ready for a screw, and then I'm going to force some glue down in here. Then I'm going to put the screw in and it'll be as good as new. I'm going to get a bunch of comments telling me how this isn't the right way to do it. But once again, you're never going to see it. And if it works, is it really a dumb idea? I've got my hole drilled and countersunk. I also have the screwdriver pried in here just to give myself a little more space in order to get the glue in there. And now what I'm going to do is take and add some glue via this toothpick. Thank goodness I had some toothpicks laying around. And I'm going to get this glue in here. If you happen to have an air compressor, you can actually get the glue up there in the crack and kind of blow it in there, which I'm probably going to do. But if you don't have an air compressor, you can just force it down in there. Get as much glue as you can. All right, I'm just packing this with as much glue as I can get in this area. And I want to kind of show you a little pitfall that I almost ran into. After I had drilled this hole, I wanted to give it a little test run, and this is what I did. Because I was eyeballing everything, I thought, let me just make sure my angle's right. So I started that just like that, came over here, you might need to come around the side, and I estimated where the countersink was, how deep I'm going to come in, and I realized that I was just about to go through the other side of this leg. So I went and found myself a 1/2 inch shorter screw. Okay. A little tough to see, but you'll notice I actually got a little bit of glue squeeze out right there, which is a good sign. That means I got enough down in there to make this happen. And it's solid as a rock now. I decided to go ahead and finish sanding on the pedestal. We're done with that. This is getting painted. Because it's mahogany, and mahogany likes to bleed a lot of tannins, we're gonna go ahead and use this Zinsser bin primer. This right here is supposedly the product that seals in the tannins the most. So we're gonna go with this, hit this with a nice light coat in the beginning. I'm gonna go back immediately pretty much and hit a thicker coat, and then we're gonna let it sit. Then I'm gonna repeat the process and do it again. Get 2 coats, I think that should be fine. And then we're gonna get to painting. Okay, we are primed and sanded and almost ready for color. We use this product right here, this Zinsser shellac-based primer. I bought this in a can because I didn't want to buy a quart, run it through my spray gun, and then have to go through the trouble of cleaning that out, because this is a pretty much an etching primer, and it's going to be very difficult to clean. Had I known what I was in for, I probably would have just opted for cleaning the gun, because this stuff shoots out of the spray can like a cannon, and it leaves a finish that you have to sand pretty vigorously in between each coat. Got that done. Now I'm close to ready to put the color on, and I've got these cracks right here, which if they were even and consistent, I would probably go ahead and leave them, but because they vary in distance in the crack, I want to do something about that. And I'm going to go with a process that Finnish carpenters use in a home, which is caulking it. All right, this is DAP, just Alex latex caulking. We're going to go ahead and use this. If you don't have a caulking gun, it's not a big deal. You can go down to the big box stores and they sell this stuff in a squeezable tube. And it's really easy to work with. And I'm going to show you a couple of tricks to make it even easier. So here we go. Just going to put a nice light bead right in there. And then I'm going to go and get my finger wet. You can let me slide on through here. I'm just going to get my finger wet. Like to get it a little wet there, and I'm going to push it and force it into the crack. Just like that. Wipe it off. And then here is the pro tip. I'm going to take this sponge, get a little bit of moisture on it. Take this wet sponge, okay? I'm going to dry my hand off because I don't want to drip water all over what I'm doing here. And this moist sponge right here will leave a nice finish that you don't have to do anything with except let it dry, which takes about 20 minutes. Just going to get this booger out of the corner there. And we're ready to paint. No crack. It's been about a week and a half since we've picked up this project. We had a hurricane and a class reunion to go to in California. That's given us some time to reflect, and we've discovered we don't like the color. So I'm going to sand this down lightly with 400. You don't need to see that. And when we come back, we're going to be spraying this with a much better color.
I wish you could feel how smooth that feels. You did a really great job on that, honey.
You need feel-o-vision, huh?
Feel-o-vision.
You need to learn to stop hitting that button before it's time.
What did you say about the feel-o-vision?
If there was a such thing as feel-o-vision, it wouldn't be used for wood refinishing. That's for sure. All right, I'm coming to you from our dungeon, our paint dungeon today. It's really windy outside. I don't want to open the door. Plus, this will create a cleaner environment anyway, but our lighting's pretty terrible in here. I just got finished straining this paint, getting ready to load it up into the paint cup, paint strainer right here. I'm going to add a little bit of water. The paint manufacturer and Wagner both say I don't need to, but I've already tried it. It sprayed pretty lousy, and the way it sprayed with a ton of orange peel and everything else like that, and the fact that it was very difficult to get a bigger fan with the spray tip. In fact, it was spitting a lot and a lot of overspray out of the sides. But I'm very excited. I got some really good passes, smooth. I need to dial it in just a little bit more, but thinning the paint made all the difference. I'm going to actually be able to back down the power setting on the Wagner Flexio 3500. You've got basically, I guess it's down from 1 up to 8. When I was using it the other day, unthinned paint, I had to be all the way on 8 and all the way wide open on the material flow. This material flow is kind of hinky. All it is just a knob that basically opens up to keep you from pulling the trigger so much. This is flowing nicely, and I think we're off and running. Getting ready to apply the clear onto the tabletop. First thing I'm going to do is hit this with a tack cloth, get any dust off. I also want to point out this little contraption right here. I know we mentioned it before, but just as a reminder, where this is covering will be covered by the legs as when they get put on. So even though we're not going to get anything underneath here, that's fine, because when the legs get put on, it'll be underneath that and you won't see anything. This is just so that I can spray both sides at the same time.
After several setbacks, including a hurricane, here are the results of our vintage $16 mahogany table makeover. We love it. What do you think? Leave us a comment below.
Guys, we are a brand new channel and we're on a race to 1,000. If you got some value out of this video, please give us a like, consider subscribing, and if you have any comments on how we can make the channel better, please leave us a comment. We'd really appreciate that. We read all comments. Thank you again for watching.